spring up the defense once again. The pendulum swings towards the proposition, and we have Vrinda Grover. Vrinda, the floor is yours. You have a lot of googlies to defend.
Friends on the dais and members of the House, first of all, I think I should begin with thanking Mr. Sengupta, who I think defected to our side by actually very evocatively telling you that justice is not delivered. He tried to nihilistically annihilate the proposition itself, which to my mind, by citing select examples, was actually to take away the very spirit of justice, which I thought his proposition was to defend. Dr. Sarkar said he bowled a few googlies. I think he also bowled a self-goal. As the pendulum of today's motion, justice is often demanded but seldom delivered, oscillates between the forces of demand and supply. To advance my arguments in favor of this proposition, I will probe the economics of the marketplace of justice as it intersects with the axis of marginalization. I do believe I will be able to persuade you in favor of the motion. Revolutions have been sparked by the quest for justice. As Freud wrote in 1930, the first requisite of civilization is that of justice. It would be therefore quite myopic and misleading to restrict our conceptualization of justice to adjudication and verdicts delivered by a court of law through litigation. The preamble of the Indian Constitution encapsulates this notion holistically yet pithily: justice, social, economic, and political, thereby embracing Dr. Ambedkar's vision that justice has always evoked the ideas of equality. Often people believe that court is the only forum for dispensation of justice. This, in my view, is a fundamental error as it miscalculates the inherent limitations of the judicial process. Courts, especially criminal courts, are an adversarial forum scaffolded by legal regimes of procedure and evidence. A criminal court is devised to discover the forensic truth, not to exhume the absolute truth. The determination of innocence or guilt, the verdict of acquittal or conviction, is a distillation of the evidence marshaled before the court. Dr. Singhvi, leading the charge in favor of the motion, placed before you some of the infirmities and shortcomings. I will add to those statistics. A highly inadequate and debilitating judicial infrastructure, coupled with political apathy in resourcing the same, confirms the legal maxim, justice delayed is justice denied. The data published by the Ministry of Law and Justice on 1st January 2025 shows that the sanction strength of judicial officers, judges in the High Court in India is 1,122, of which 371, or roughly 33% judicial posts are lying vacant. As per the National Judicial Data Grid, the district court level, there are about 4,53 lakh cases pending, which roughly amounts to 65,000 cases in each district court. Given the crippling workload, can and will the courts deliver justice? But delay is not just an administrative glitch that technology or reports of policy think tanks will fix. The reason for this institutional intransigence are also rooted in prejudice. Take the experience of Bhavri Devi, a government village level worker in Rajasthan who was gang raped in 1995 by 5 men from the dominant caste for opposing child marriage. All 5 accused were acquitted in 1995 on dubious reasoning. Almost 3 decades later, Bhavari's appeal against acquittals is yet to be heard by the Rajasthan High Court. Bhavari's hostile encounter with the legal process, however, led to the enunciation of the Vishakha guidelines by the Supreme Court in 1997 to secure safety and dignity for women at the workplace. In Bhavari's words, "Mujhe to nyay nahi mila, magar meri behan betiyon ko milega." The endemic delay and uncertainties in the delivery of justice, coupled with a rising crime graph, trigger social anxiety. Preying on such fears, the 4 suspects arrested for the rape and murder of Disha, the veterinary doctor in Hyderabad, was shot dead by the police in alleged encounter killing in December 2019. The public applauded the encounter, for the police had delivered instant justice, and the police proclaimed, "See, law has done its duty." The Justice Sirpurkar Commission of Inquiry appointed by the Supreme Court, however, concluded that 4 suspects were killed in cold blood and recommended that all 10 policemen be tried for murder. The inquiry revealed that 3 of those killed were juveniles belonging to a primitive tribal group, and the evidence linking all 4 to the heinous crime was speculative and tenuous. These extrajudicial killings have left even more families bereft, seeking answers, justice, and closure. The American writer James Baldwin said, "If one really wishes to know how justice is administered in a country, one does not question the policemen, the lawyers, the judges, or the protected members of the middle class. One goes to the unprotected, those precisely who need the law's protection most, and listen to their testimony." The only offense recognized by the Indian Constitution is untouchability, with an absolute prohibition on its practice by state and society. This week, the Madras High Court, while awarding compensation for the death of a manual scavenger cleaning a sewer, termed it homicide by an insensitive society. In the era of AI and unprecedented technological breakthroughs, Dalit lives remain dispensable. Injustice persists due to our callousness, our casteism. Growing up in Delhi, 1984 was a formative year in my life as I witnessed the anti-Sikh massacre. The electoral map of India etches an unbroken and ascending graph of rich dividends for those who plan, incite, and sponsor targeted violence against minorities. It is we, the people, who vote them into power. Our ballots sanctify their egregious crimes and assure impunity. Justice eludes victims of mass crimes who become pawns in political skirmishes. 40 years ago, in the early hours of December 3rd, 1984, a poisonous gas leaked from the Union Carbide pesticide factory in Bhopal, leaving more than 22,000 dead and over 500,000 persons injured. Today, the drinking water in the area remains contaminated and children are still born with birth defects. For the world's worst industrial disaster, the American CEO was arrested for a few hours and released. Union Carbide was taken over by Dow Chemicals, who claims it has no corporate responsibility for the devastation. English language and the legal lexicon fell short, and a new word was coined, and the crime of genocide created under international law to describe and create accountability for the perpetrators of the Holocaust. In February 2024, the highest international court, the ICJ, ruled that the ongoing relentless attack on Gaza could amount to genocide. Can the injured, maimed, orphaned, starving, displaced children of Gaza, Palestine, dream of justice as they are being obliterated? I wonder if these bleak times signal a prophetic message and moment of change. In conclusion, perhaps we can draw some hope for changing what is often demanded but seldom delivered, so that there is more parity in the equation, and draw some hope from the words of Arundhati Roy. The idea of justice even dreaming about justice is a revolutionary act. Thank you.